Hi guys, this is a complete walkthrough and analysis of the poem Ozymandias by Percy Shelley. So starting off with some context, he was a romantic poet, like many others in the anthology, values imagination, emotion and a very deep connection with nature, and he often challenged authorities, and Shelley in particular was a very strong critic of oppressive power structures and an advocate for freedom and individualism. The poem was written in 1817 but published in 1818 in a sonnet form and was inspired by a statue of Egyptian pharaoh Ramesses II, and through this Shelley indirectly criticizes the contemporary rulers, especially King George III, making the poem a very powerful political statement at the time. Now, the opening line, I met a traveller from an antique land, it's a framing device. So the speaker is quoting someone else, which creates a sense of distance and timelessness. So the antique land here is also referring to Egypt, which sets the scene for the tale of a forgotten king later on. The line below. So here we have a description. Immediately, it gives us a very powerful image. The legs are vast, suggesting enormous scale of the original statue, but trunkless. So we have a missing torso. It means that the figure is incomplete. Its power has literally sort of just crumbled. So this contrast symbolizes how greatness can be lost over time. So the statue once represented strength and authority and permanence, but now there's only remains of it in the endless desert. So there's a strong juxtaposition here between the statue of what it used to be and what it is now. There's also a sense of, a mocking tone. The grand monument now looks almost ridiculous in its ruined state. A sense of isolation because there's no empires, no followers, just broken pieces. Now, the shattered visage, it means broken face. And despite being damaged, there's an expression of a frown, wrinkled lips, and sneer or cold command. It paints, the ruler to be very arrogant, harsh, and extremely tyrannical, despite the fact that the statue isn't ruined. So the sculptor's skill sort of captures the king's true nature so well that it survives even after the empire is gone, and it shows how art can really preserve the truth. There's also a layer of irony here too. The king likely commissioned the statue to glorify himself, but the only thing that remains is the very harsh and unflattering portrayal of his arrogance. Now, the hand that mocked them, here, the mocked, it can be read in two ways. So on the surface, it's just the sculpture sort of skillfully imitating or replicating the king's expression, but it could also imply the, ridiculum or criticism, really, suggesting that the artist may have sort of subtly undermining the king through his art, exposing the arrogance instead of really glorifying it. And it raises the idea that artists' perspective can outlive the ruler's power. And this very famous line, the King of Kings, it's hubris, it's pride, and this biblical reference that we have over here, he's almost, comparing himself to God, or Christ in Christianity, and it, suggests that he really saw himself as divine, but then again, nothing beside remains. So this is where the poem, the irony lands, because he's bragging about his greatness, but now there's nothing really left of it. No city, no monument, just ruins and endless sand, and time has really erased his power. But again, this emphasis of my name is Ozymandias and King of Kings, look on my work. So the repetition of the possessive pronoun mine, it gives, he's this assertive tone to it, as well as the use of the K alliteration for commanding tone which it imposes. So just as I was mentioning before about this line, nothing besides remain, it's of course, him bragging about his greatness, but now there's just nothing left. And it's almost that it delivers a great punch to his ego, that everything he built, he ruled, it's all crumbled up now. And the silence, it sort of speaks a lot more. Then here we have a very powerful oxymoron in colossal wreck. So there's a massive ruin basically, and it shows how even the greatest works can sort of just collapse, and something once mighty is now completely broken. And then moving on to the alliteration, so the boundless and bare. So the use of the harsh B sound, it reflects the emptiness while the lone and level, so here we have a softer L sound, and it creates a very calm yet eerie tone, and it reinforces the loneliness and the isolation of the scene in general. Whilst I finish off the annotations, I do also want to go through the main themes really quickly. So we have, it will come up on the screen in just a second. The impermanence of power, first of all. See, the fact that Ozymandias' empire is gone, his legacy is forgotten of. Secondly, the power of time and nature. We have hubris and the power of art, that though the king is gone, the sculptures work and message still live on. Alright, so that brings us to the end of the video. I hope this helped. If any questions, do let me know, and drop a comment if you want the PDF of the full annotations as well. Thank you.